Showtime! The Capital G show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here. We're talking TCG exclusives in this video. They're really meant to add diversity into the game, keep things more interesting. Fortunately, a lot of times they end up sucking, but every so often we'll get one that changes the game and just makes Japanese players everywhere jealous. So I've decided to go ahead and rank them based on power, impact on the game, and practicality. I've limited this list to one per art type. I mean, we don't want Burning Abyss having like half the list. So without further ado, this is the top 10 TCG exclusives of all time, the Yu-Gi-Oh hierarchy. Number 10, Wind Up Shark and EVOLZAR DOLKKA. So I couldn't really decide between these two cards. They were both such vital parts in their deck's success. They came out around the same time, and DOLKKA was really probably a top 3 XC at the time that Dino Rabbit was really in its prime. And then on the other hand, you had Wind Up Shark, which led to a 2-card combo so powerful it got Shockmaster banned in the TCG and also made my top 10 2-card combos of all time. Number 9, SABER DARKSOUL. So some of you newer players might not realize how powerful this guy once was, but let me assure you, meet the card that almost single-handedly made SABERs the best deck in the game and further broke Rescue Cat as a card, because apparently we all needed that. DARKSOUL not only searched the entire SABER archetype, including itself, which I still don't understand why you can do that, but originally you could get multiple searches off the same DARKSOUL being sent to the graveyard multiple times in one turn. I mean, just tell me that shit ain't broke. I mean, if you haven't read Gotham's and Full Troll, you just need to. DARKSOUL was so prevalent, it was even common during the later stages of that format to see SABER players main decking Thunder King Ryo just to stop their opponent's DARKSOULs. Number 8, Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss. Probably the best current XC in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dante is, I mean, he's pretty much the glue that holds together one of the best TCG decks of all time. Not to mention, at the same time, the dude is so easy to summon that even random archetypes like Infernoid seem fit to run the card in the extra. I mean, the guy's got offense, defense, and best of all, the card's idiot-proof. Number 7, Allure of Darkness. You know a list is filled with a ton of good cards when one of the best draw cards of all time isn't even in the top 5. With that being said, Allure of Darkness was one of those cards that really made you facepalm the first time you saw it, because you thought, well shit, I guess the rich are just going to keep getting richer. Dark was already widely recognized as the best attribute in the game, and giving them a draw 2 and then remove, which was emphatically better than all of the archetype specific remove then draw 2. I mean, that kind of made everybody scratch their head. Number 6, Infernity Barrier. This was the original be-all, end-all archetype counter trap in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! A card that negated basically everything but summons and was searchable. What more could you ask for? Infernity Barrier not only made the deck far superior than what it was in the OCG, but much like Stratos, it's created a legacy so strong that Konami has tried to imitate the card multiple times. Number 5, LONEFIRE Blossom. So Phantom Darkness sure was a strange set. Who would have ever guessed that one of the best cards to be released in that booster pack that was primarily focused on the dark attribute would have been a fire plant? I mean, that's so Konami. LONEFIRE Blossom is probably the best type searching card ever, and it's not just because of the pool of cards that it searches, but it doesn't have to tribute itself. It's not once per turn, and then it ended up becoming one of the key tools in one of the best engines of all time, obviously the Plan Engine. Number 4, Max C. This was one of the biggest gems to come out of Storm of Ragnarok and was definitely underappreciated at the time that it was released, but it's still currently relevant in the competitive game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Today. I mean, that's really telling you something. Storm of Ragnarok is probably like 4+ years old. Max C gave players a legitimate defense to their opponent trying to go ham, and it was completely immune to spell and trap destruction. It's no wonder that people consider this one of the best hand traps of all time. Number 3, Gateway of the Six. Best theme support card ever? I'm gonna say yes. Gateway is truly one of the first cards in the game that made players start using the term auto win card. While its timing was completely random, it just didn't make any sense to come out in Stardust Overdrive. The effect that it had on the game when Samurais got their new support and Storm of Ragnarok, that shit was unquestioned. 3 different effects, OTKs, miles of advantage. This card was flat out scary. Number 2, Reborn Tengu. Allow me to introduce one of the worst ideas in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Konami sure was thirsty to have the synchro mechanic dominate the game, which it already was doing, but Reborn Tengu pretty much was the last nail in the coffin for anything that wasn't synchro related that really wanted to have a chance at being the best deck. It was a sizable beater. It would trigger anytime that it left the field, no matter what. I mean, this guy was resistant to battle, all forms of removal. He was the best tribute fodder in the game at the time, and since it triggered in the graveyard, oddly enough, even random decks like Tech Genesis that ran Skill Drain could use it too. Honorable mentions include Wind Up Zemains, Volcanic Rocket, Test Tiger, Dark Lord Zerato, Mermail Abystius, and Abyss Dweller. And finally, number 1, Tour Guide from the Underworld. This one was obvious. Remember everything that I just said about how Tengu broke the synchro summoning mechanic a la Destiny Hero Malicious? Yeah, Tour Guide basically did the same exact thing for the Xyz summon. I don't know what type of shit that Konami was smoking when they were thinking up Extreme Victory, but they must have gotten high as a motherfucker, because Tour Guide made the Xyz summon laughably easy, as well as searched out probably the best searching card at the time in Sangan. I mean, even before Burning Abyss was even thought about, Tour Guide was already causing havoc, and it had pretty much cemented its legacy as one of the most influential cards of all time. So let me know what you guys think. Were there any cards that I missed out? What would you have added to the list? Leave that in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, as always. Subscribing makes life happy.